You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to the Camnet TV main news with Banda Tandiwe. The headlines. Zambia in housing deficit. UPND accused privatization doomsayers of being sponsored to scandalize HH. NRFA fails to meet 2020 second quarter target. And in our international news, Nigerian Parliament Speaker heads to Ghana over diplomatic role. And in our sports news, Zambia drawn in Group B for Croatia Youth Tournament. Do join me with the details after this break. Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444-726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you a filmmaker? Well, you are exactly what we are looking for.
Camnet TV is calling on local filmmakers. For more details,
you can visit our headquarters in Ibex Hill, next to Hilltop Hospital.
Contact us on
0962 444 726. Camnet TV.
Not just another channel.
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444-726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. The Civic Forum on Housing and Habitat has challenged government to ensure that the general populace is living in decent housing. Organization Executive Director Grace Mutonga says Zambia still has a huge housing deficit, which has affected the attainment of national aspirations on decent housing for all. She was speaking during the launch of the 2020-2024 National Housing Policy under the Ministry of Housing and Infrastructure Development. And speaking at the launch, Minister in charge of Housing, Vincent Mwale, says government recognizes housing as a fundamental need for every human being. Let's get the details in this report.
Housing provisions is strategically important social and economic activity that currently stands at unprecedented high levels in Zambia. This is because more informal settlements are coming up every day as a result of high inequalities in land acquisition, among other cross-cutting issues. Government, through the Ministry of Housing and Infrastructure, says the housing deficit, which currently stands at 1.5 million, may shoot up to 3.3 million in 2030 if not addressed. Wednesday, Minister in charge launched a national housing policy which will foresee a major milestone in the housing sector. The minister says continued reliance on the outdated housing framework has affected the smooth flow of improving matters in the sector. He is hopeful that this policy will help the country attain Vision 2030.
It has been approved by Cabinet to guide housing development in the country. The policy aims to promote decent, affordable and adequate shelter for all. The development of this policy involved a comprehensive and consultative process, starting with the review of the 1996 National Housing Policy. It involved collaboration with land ministries, traditional leaders, cooperative partners, the private sector, non-governmental organizations, community-based groups, and financial institutions. The implementation of the policy shall help the country in attaining the commitments of the 2016 New Urban Agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the Vision 2030. which Zambia has committed itself to. Government recognizes the critical role of the private sector in the provision of decent housing. This policy aims at promoting private sector participation in the provision of low and medium cost housing units.
And speaking at the same event, Civic Forum on Housing and Habitat says government needs to do more to meet the aspirations in the Sustainable Development Goals on housing and others.
The desired delivery of 222,000 housing units per annum is attainable if we can embrace an array of different methodologies that are responsive to enhance the supply of affordable housing for all. And this also will need to be accompanied by a lot of investment in research and technology on available local building materials, because imports are always expensive. Propaganda, you are a tested man, and I know that you're going to give guidance to our local authorities to ensure that they're able to monitor the building structures that is going on so that they enforce the building codes. We cannot continue to see the lawlessness that is existing in our country.
And UN Representative Alexander Chileshe has made an earnest call to government for strong partnership with the private sector to ensure that the housing deficit is dealt with.
Such efforts are very, very important in helping us to make progress regarding the Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG number 11, that has a target on ensuring access for all to adequate, safe and affordable housing and basic services and upgrading of informal settlements by 2030. 2030 is not so far away. I think it's very, very close by. We're only a few years away. Especially in this decade, where we need to begin accelerating our efforts towards this global goal.
The national housing policy that has been launched today by Honorable Minister Vincent Mwale will run from 2020 to 2024. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwale says government has revised the 2016 tolling regulations to provide for the payment of inland toll fees by foreign registered vehicles. Addressing the media on Wednesday morning, Mr. Mwale says the move is aimed at promoting equality in the administration of toll fees. He notes that Zambian registered drivers have been paying more than those with foreign registered vehicles who were exempted from paying inland toll fees once they pay at the border. The minister says that these fees are in addition to the fees that foreign vehicles pay at entry ports. The minister has since encouraged road users to use the electronic payment system, which he says is aimed at increasing efficiency and accountability, especially now during the COVID-19 era where cashless transactions are key.
Government has recognized the need to promote equity in the administration of toll fees. The government is cognizant of the fact that road users driving Zambian registered vehicles have been paying more compared to those driving foreign registered vehicles who are exempted from paying inland toll fees once they pay at ports of entry or various ports of entries. Government has responded to address this inequality through an amendment of the tolling regulations. Following consultations with key stakeholders, government has revised the 2016 tolling regulations to provide for payments of inland tolls by foreign registered vehicles. These fees are in addition to the fees that foreign registered vehicles pay at ports of entry. The revision of regulations will enable all road users to equitably contribute to the utilization of roads within Zambia. Members of the public may have noted that government has initiated some innovations regarding payment of toll fees. This has been done to achieve efficiencies in service delivery. One of the innovations has been the introduction of an electronic payment system which has been working seamlessly. I therefore encourage all road users to use electronic payment systems for their convenience. In further, this cashless payment system is one of the ways that we are promoting to mitigate against the spread of the coronavirus. In this regard, starting from 31st December 2020, all toll agents will be instructed to strictly ensure that commercial vehicles do not use cash when paying toll fees. Government expects 100% compliance to this measure, and our esteemed road users are advised to prepare accordingly.
And still on toll fees, the National Road Fund Agency, NRFA, has disclosed that the collection of revenue through toll gates has reduced this year due to low traffic volumes experienced during the second quarter. Agency Public Relations Manager Alphonsus Hamachila has reviewed that the agency has collected 777 million kwacha against a target of 952 million kwacha at the end of July. Mr. Hamachila is, however, hopeful that the agency will reach its target by the end of next year. By the end of this year, I beg your pardon. Mr. Hamachila has also reviewed that NRFA is now collecting toll fees from 37 tolling stations countrywide, having opened 2 toll gates on the Eastern Circuit on Tuesday, the 1st of September 2020. The new toll gates include the one between Nyimba and Petauke and another one between Nyimba and Chipata.
We are now collecting from 37 collection points across the country, having opened 2 toll gates on the Eastern Circuit. Yesterday, the 1st of September 2020, we opened a toll gate between Nyimba and Petauke, and this is the Grey Zulu toll gate. We opened another toll gate between Nyimba and Chipata, and this toll gate is the Ruben Chitandika Kamanga toll gate. Within this year, we have had a target of 1.6 billion kwacha in terms of projected revenues. As of end of July 2020, we collected 777 million kwacha against a target of 952 million kwacha at that particular point. The underperformance could be attributed to the low traffic volumes that we experienced in the second quarter of 2020 owing to COVID-19 effects. We are still optimistic that end of year we should reach our target, projected target of the revenues for the road tolling program. Already the Eastern Circuit is giving us a monthly revenue of 2 million kwacha per month. This is the combined revenue from the Grey Zulu toll gate and also the the Ruben Chitandika Kamanga toll gate. These 2 toll gates, in terms of traffic volumes, we have the highest traffic volumes between Katete and Chipata, at the Ruben Chitandika Kamanga, of 900 vehicles per day. We have 700 vehicles passing through the Grey Zulu toll gate. This is the toll gate between Nyimba and
And in other news, government has secured farmland for the remaining former miners in Luanshya district that were not allocated. Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU National Coordinator Chanda Kawe disclosed this when he paid a courtesy call on Copperbelt Permanent Secretary Bright Nundwe at his office that the former miners will also be supported with other logistics like building material and resources to help them start up sustainable livelihoods. A number of former miners have been allocated land in Mufulira, Luanshya and Lufwanyama. Let's get the details in this report.
Copperbelt Province, whose main activity has been mining, has had many of its population being displaced after being laid off from their jobs at the mines. Government has been helping these people slowly but surely. Wednesday, some of the former miners have been given land after government, through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, secured farmland for them. This came to light when DMMU National Coordinator Chanda Kawe paid a courtesy call on the Copperbelt Permanent Secretary Bright Nundwe.
It includes the residents in Luanshya who are working for the mines. At the time, some people lost employment, maybe 2-3 years ago, that we are going to give them land for the farms. Some miners were given land, and I remember when I was in DC, Joe and I, we were very active in that program where ex-miners were given farm plots. Some of them have not been given. Finally, the government has come through DMMU to try and support these ex-miners with land in Fanyama and Mufulira.
Meanwhile, Mr. Nundwe has thanked DMMU for their continued response to helping the vulnerable in the province.
I must be very thankful to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, that at the office of the OVP, there is so much level-headedness. Again, I must commend His Excellency the President, including the Vice President and your entire team. Copper Belt is a very critical province that requires concerted efforts from all of us. You have made the work of the leadership of the Copper Belt lighter and easier every single moment.
In speaking at the same meeting, Luansha Mayor Nathan Chanda says over 50,000 people have been displaced for various reasons.
You know very well that Luansha has gone through thick and thin because of the careless privatization that some of the people who even wants to vie for the highest position in the land did for the people of Luansha. Some people have died. We are still looking after orphans here and widows because some people up to now have not been paid. And I must thank President Edgar Chavalungu that not long ago when the same ex-miners of Ramcos petitioned my office to take their letter to President Edgar Chavalungu so that they may be attended to.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Open Energy Labs and the Zambian government through the Ministry of Energy have signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU aimed at building capacity of Zambian students to design, build and maintain renewable energy systems. Open Energy Labs Zambia Director Granville Wood says his organization will be delivering a state-of-the-art educational resource for the Zambian schools to enable countries develop its own renewable systems. Mr. Wood says the resources not only give students hands-on experience of electronics but also allow them to use knowledge that they gain to improve access to electricity and solve one of the biggest problems faced by communities across the country. Mr. Wood says Open Energy Labs Zambia is happy to have partnered with the government with the aim to resilient and sustainable systems that ensure that renewable energy resources play a leading role in meeting Zambia and Africa's energy demands. Ministry of Energy Permanent Secretary Mr. Trevor Kaunda signed the MOU on behalf of government. OEL is backed by the Department of International Development, DFID, and the Zambian National Science and Technology Council. Let's get the details.
As Open Energy Labs, we will be delivering a state-of-the-art educational resource for Zambian schools to enable the country to develop its own renewable systems. Our resources not only give students hands-on experience of electronics, but also allows them to use the knowledge they gain to improve access to electricity and solve one of the biggest problems faced by communities across the country. We are happy to have partnered with the government. Our aim in the energy sector is to build a resilient and sustainable system that ensures that renewable energy resources play a leading role in meeting Zambia and Africa's energy demands.
And in other news stories, Zambia has recorded 37 new cases out of 729 tests done in the last 24 hours. Health Minister Dr. Chitalu Chilufya says one death has occurred, bringing the death toll to 292, and 15 people have been discharged, making a total of 11,494 recoveries. The cumulative number of cases is 12,415 from 553 tests conducted. The Ministry of Health has reviewed that COVID-19 has continued breaking geographical barriers, with Mukushi becoming the 77th district to be hit by the disease. Let's see more in this story.
In the last 24 hours, we conducted 729 tests, out of which 34 came out positive. We unfortunately recorded 3 deaths. One facility death at the University Teaching Hospital while we were waiting to move the patient to Levy, the 55-year-old hypertensive patient with underlying challenges of obesity did succumb to COVID-19 after developing respiratory failure. The other mortality involved a 74-year-old man at Levy, again some underlying challenges, and also succumbed to COVID-19. We recorded a brought-in dead case in Lundazi, and This is the first time we're recording a BID in Lundazi due to COVID-19. What is also unique about the figures for today is that we've seen districts that have not recorded cases before. Mukushi today recorded its first case of COVID-19. This then brings the number of districts in the country that are affected by COVID-19 to 71. Again, that shows the generalized infection and the wide geographic spread. We have, in the last 24 hours, discharged 15 patients from our isolation facilities, and that brings now the cumulative number of cases to 12,415 out of 118,553 tests conducted so far. Recoveries continue to be high at 11,494. Our deaths are now at 292, 97 of which are classified as COVID deaths, while 195 are COVID-associated deaths.
You're still watching the Camnet TV main news on Camnet TV, not just another channel. We do take our second set of commercials and return with more news stories. Do stay with us.
I have used Oracle Pure Glycerin for 2 years now. It has really worked for me. It has cleared all the black spots on my face. It has restored my skin beauty. It also smoothens the skin. Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for perfect skin. If it's not Oracle Glycerin, then it's not Pure Glycerin.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customer service at lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with our stories. According to the UPND Media Chairman, Charles Kakuma, the party, through its lawyers, are working on court documents to sue FDD President Edith Nawakwi for libel. Mr. Hichilamai is said to be demanding 3 million kwacha from Ms. Nawakwi for defaming him that he sold Zambian properties to himself. The Zambian government, through Information and Broadcasting Services Minister Dora Silia, and a media statement on Tuesday, said government is studying the matter, adding that if Mr. Hichilema dubiously benefited from the sale of the Zambian properties, government will take action against him. But in response on his Facebook page, Mr. Hichilema acknowledged government's intentions by challenging them to bring it on. Let's get the details. And former Finance Deputy Minister in the MMD government, Jonas Shakafuswa, says those who live in glass houses should be the least to throw stones at others. Mr. Shakafuswa has asked if the Pandora's box can be opened following the privatization debate which has risen. He says before those in government can talk about the privatization issue, the Zambian people would want answers over the $48 million and solicited fire tenders. According to him, the fire tender was not budgeted for under the Ministry of Local Government and Housing in the year of procuring them. Mr. Shakafuswa also asked how former Finance Minister Alexander Chikwanda allowed the payment. He has also reminded the Zambian government about the Mukula tree deals, which he says found themselves in China without leaving a money trail. But Mr. Shakafuswa says he knows who benefited from the deal and will be able to name them in due course. Meanwhile, the United Party for National Development UPND Deputy National Spokesman Cornelius Mwetwa has questioned the FDD leader Edith Nawakwi's interest in the privatization matter. Ms. Nawakwi, who has gone on rampage questioning the source of wealth for the UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema, was Minister of Finance by the time of the privatization. Mr. Mwetwa, who is also Choma Central Member of Parliament, says Edith Nawakwi should also tell the Zambian people about her involvement in the process. He says the matter has consumed national debate, is being sponsored by people that have realized that Mr. Hichilema is unstoppable. Let's see more in the story.
To initiate this country to making corruption a part and parcel of life. And now, after going to attempt to become president of the Republic of Zambia and failed, and having concluded in her mind that she now stands zero chance, she has gone to join a PF choir, singing praises for PF, masquerading as an anti-corruption crusader. And for many who know her, are now asking how a person with a clear record that remains tainted with corruption and abuse of office in respect of the Carrington Maize deal can now go on an ant-hill and crown herself as #1 crusader against abuse of national resources. She has the right, Madam Nawakwi, to speak on issues of corruption and on any other issues of national importance as a citizen.
The Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP, says it is in support of calls for government to institute a commission of inquiry to look into the matter in which Zambia's entire privatization process was handled in the late 1990s. PEP President Sean Temple tells Camnet TV in a video statement that a commission of inquiry must include identifying all those involved in the process and whether the acts done by the beneficiaries constitute to be called criminal offences or not. He says anyone that will be found wanting after the inquiry should receive the punishment they deserve. Mr. Temple has, however, noted with concern that the past inquiries of various issues have not realized the much-needed results, making the general populace doubt such processes. He says, regardless of the above, the only way to end the privatization issue is through the Commission of Inquiry. The UPND leader, Hakainde Hichilema, has been cited as the main man in the privatization process, which has caused massive debates countrywide. Details in this report.
As Patriots for Economic Progress, we wish to join calls for the establishment of a commission of inquiry to look into the manner and fashion in which the privatization process was undertaken in this country. We've seen that there has been a lot of debate in the recent past, accusations and counter-accusations between various political leaders, including Honorable Edith Nawakwi, who was Minister of Finance at that time, and the UPND President, Mr. Hichilema, who was part of the privatization process. And we believe that the only sure way to resolve these debates, these accusations and counter-accusations, is to establish a commission of inquiry to look into this matter and settle this matter once and for all. We believe that there is no innocent person who would not grab at the first opportunity that is available for them to exonerate themselves and prove their innocence. Therefore, we are hopeful that all parties
will be in support of the establishment of a commission of inquiry.
Government has disbursed more than 17 million US dollars for the implementation of various programs under the Lake Tanganyika development project being implemented in Pulungu and Sama district of Northern Province. The project, under the Ministry of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection, supported by the African Development and the Global Environment Facility, seeks to improve the quality of livelihoods of the population depending on Lake Tanganyika and protecting the ecological integrity of the lake basin. Water Development Minister Jonas Chanda, who has inspected works by the project, says about 157,000 people stand to benefit from the project in the two districts. The minister has thanked the project team led by coordinator Dora Kamweneshe for the proper management of finances and adhering to set timelines. The project has a component of integrated natural resources management by supporting fishery co-management, small-scale aquaculture and establishing community forests, as well as village conservation. Let's get the details.
I should take this opportunity, like I've been reminding our colleagues, Chambesh Water Supply and Sanitation Company, to start planning ahead, because this is now like becoming a fully fledged district. The population will be huge. So we appreciate Lake Tanganyika Development Project for the water recirculation system, and all these water recirculation systems that you have put up to ensure people have access to clean and safe water. But by and large, we also expect that Chambesh Water, working with Lake Tanganyika Project, Chambesh Water Supply Company, working with the project itself, can build on this to extend water services to our people, sanitation services to our people. Because like I must commend you for thinking ahead. The way you'll be collecting sewer from here, which will require to be like empty time and again. But Chambesh Water, this is an opportunity to also start planning for a proper sanitation system, a sewer system. Because there's a lot of land here, a lot of tourism potential, very beautiful coast, one of the most beautiful coasts in Zambia, coastline. So with this huge potential, you expect a lot of investors to come. People open up tourism places. So this is a huge potential even for commercial utilities. To have a lot of customers, they will make a lot of money, they will become profitable and all that. So we are very, very grateful and very happy actually with the works that have been done under the Lake Tanganyika Development Project, the quality of works, the timelines that are adhered to. I think we've seen evidence of proper project management.
And in other news stories, the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA, has charged that road safety awareness should begin from childhood. The call comes in the wake of the realization that children constitute a large number of road traffic accident victims countrywide, thereby including the road awareness matters in the school curriculum. Speaking when handing over a donation of road safety supplementary books at the Ministry of General Education, RATSA Director Standards and Curriculum, Cecilia Sakala, says imparting road safety knowledge and skills at an early age will help reduce road fatalities involving children. The books, which have been translated into 7 languages, will be distributed in all 10 provinces. And General Education Permanent Secretary Jobix Kalumba says this will go a long way in helping pupils make road safety decisions. More in this report.
The increasing number of children involved in road accidents has been a matter of concern for many people, especially parents. Children have been classified as vulnerable road users, according to the World Health Organization 2019 report. It also says the road traffic injuries are one of the leading causes of death in children. In this regard, the Road Traffic and Safety Agency, RTSA, has printed road safety books amounting to 125,900 to be distributed across the country, translated into 7 languages. Wednesday morning, RTSA presented the books to the Ministry of General Education so that road safety can be taught in schools.
There is a special program that we are doing dedicated to schools, school zones. As you are aware, we've got a safety park where schools can go and learn about road safety as well, and other interested parties. But further to that, we are going around. We have started with Lusaka, and in particular, we've selected some schools where we do improvements to the schools, so that as pupils are crossing, the level and the rate of accidents is reduced. So we put in speed limits, put zebra crossing, and all the requirements that are on the road furniture for the safety of schools, school pupils. So this program is ongoing with the pilot, and after we work on the first schools, we plan to grow.
And receiving the books, General Education Ministry Permanent Secretary Jobix Kalumba says it is government's desire to see the road safety becomes part of the curriculum for all grades and training of teachers in this subject.
That if it becomes, it forms part of an assessment at all levels of examinations, our children will keep on placing a lot of importance on this aspect. It is within the framework of the curriculum, but all what we can say here is, shall we move to the next levels, like colleges of education? The teachers in colleges of education must be trained in this important aspect, not only in piecemeal, but as an integral part of teacher education programs. It's quite important. If time could allow, even universities should also be given such an opportunity, in knowing more about road safety. And
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Still to come is our international and sports news. Do stay with us.
To create a positive difference in people's lives, one must first understand the way people live. At Savenda, we're here for our community, our partners, and our future, as a nation and as a continent.
Back in 1997, we decided we were going to create this family journey into a bigger opportunity, and created a business called Savenda, which meant Save Nations to Develop Africa.
It's always important to give back to the people. The government cannot do everything, but as business entities, we'll be able to reach a lot of people.
From our humble beginnings in the telecoms and mining sectors to our work in energy and development projects, we know how important it is to be true to our roots.
Our services have to be diversified so that we don't depend on one income stream. Back in the village, I was growing up hunting and doing everything that a village boy would like to do. When you're hunting, you don't depend on one trap, for example. You have to have many traps. So those survival skills brought into the business created opportunities that we learned from a young age that you can't survive with just one product. Savenda Group involves Savenda Management, which is a consulting, Savenda Express, which is a corporate branding company, Savenda Electric, which is a manufacturer of energy-saving bulbs, Savenda General Insurance, which is a general insurance company, Savenda Fresh Produce, Cyber Africa, which is a center for just dealing with cyber security.
Now, Savenda is combining local knowledge with international expertise. It's time to be a part of Zambia's rising success and Africa's exciting future.
We are a gateway into Africa, and now we are praying with global companies who are coming to Zambia for opportunities and to look for companies that are homegrown, and we are proud to be one of those.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. In our international news, Nigeria's House of Representatives Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila is going to Ghana for a meeting with his Ghanaian counterparts following the recent diplomatic tension. Mr. Gbajabiamila told the media that the main topic of discussion would be issues affecting Nigerians in Ghana. The information minister for both countries had spoken about the matter with Nigeria's Lai Mohammed, accusing Ghana of deporting Nigerians and closing shops owned by Nigerian citizens. In his response, Ghana's information minister Kojo Nkrumah said the Nigerians who were deported were involved in criminal activities and that all foreign shop owners whose documentation were not in order had their premises closed. Diplomatic relations between the two countries have been strained in recent months following trade tensions and the demolition of the Nigerian diplomatic building in Accra. In other news, the once-in-a-decade census is underway across the United States, but the coronavirus outbreak is restricting face-to-face surveys. They are concerned that minority groups might be undercounted. That would affect their levels of representation in Congress, as well as the amount of federal funds each part of the country would receive based on population. Al Jazeera now reports.
Ontario, California is a largely Latino city east of Los Angeles, in an area known as the Inland Empire. It's the kind of place that Latino leaders fear will be undercounted in the 2020 census. Outside a supermarket, volunteers with the community organizing group Census IE staff an information desk, telling people what the census is all about and urging them to participate. This video was taken before widespread social distancing and stay-at-home orders were adopted in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I try to connect based on, what might be more personal to them. So if they have kids, I try to tell them, if you make them count now, that'll ensure that more money is funded into their school programs, lunch programs, libraries.
But some residents, like Juana Garcia, aren't buying it.
Many people won't do it because where I live, there are guys who say they won't do it even if you pay them. They do not want to be counted in the census.
When asked why, she referred to President Donald Trump's much publicized but ultimately unsuccessful effort to add a citizenship question to the census.
There's a reason he wants to ask for people's immigration status, either to try to deport them or so they don't fill the census out of fear.
That fear could cost Latino communities across the U.S. dearly. This region has been undercounted in past censuses, and as a result, the people who live here lost out on millions of dollars in federal funding for things like schools, hospitals, and social services. The National Association of Latino Elected Officials points to Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric and policies.
Given the rhetoric that this administration has used in the past, there's fear that that information would be used against them.
Latino community organizations are combating misinformation.
We let them know specifically that this information will not be shared with any other entity outside of the Census Bureau.
Still, many Latinos with or without legal residence are wary.
No, I don't have trust. I don't like it.
A lack of trust in the census, fostered by Trump's rhetoric and policies that Latino community organizers are struggling to overcome. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Ontario, California.
We're now going to our sports news. Draws for the eight-nation Vlatko Markovic-Croatia Invitational Tournament under 15 has been made with Zambia set to play Romania, Bosnia, Herzegovina and North Macedonia. Group A has host Croatia, Qatar, Montenegro and Bulgaria. Debutants Zambia has been placed in Group B and will open its account on September 23, 2020 against North Macedonia before facing Bosnia and Herzegovina on March Day 2 of the tournament. The Chisi Mbewe coach side will conclude its group matches, will clash with Romania on September 25th. Concluding ties will be staged on September 27 to decide the winners, with the bottom place sides facing each other to decide the 8th and the 7th place side, while the race for the 5th place will be between the 3rd best place sides in each of the two groups. Table toppers will battle for the top crown, while runners-up will face each other to battle for bronze. FAS has been conducting trials for the under-15 that has brought the boys from across the country in Lusaka. This is according to the FAS Facebook page. That sports news item brings us to the end of the Camnet TV main news. But before we go, a recap of the headlines. Zambia in housing deficit. UPND accused privatization doomsayers of being sponsored to scandalize HH. NRFA fails to meet 2020 second quarter targets. In international news, Nigerian Parliament Speaker heads to Ghana over diplomatic role. In our sports news, Zambia drawn in Group B for Croatia Youth Tournament. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 2, and it reads, "And walk in love as Christ also has loved us, and hath given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor." Thank you so much for joining me on the Camnet TV main news. My name is Banda Tandiwe. Camnet TV, not just another channel.